I'm back again, and this time I'm going to be building a dressing table and a bench. And this is going to be for an attic bedroom in my dollhouse, my 1930s style dollhouse that I'm building. And right now what I'm doing is I'm cutting out some squares of balsa wood that will be small drawers on top of the dressing table. And I'm just gluing them together, and then I'll let that dry, and then I'll sand them. Put them aside. And I have a template, and I'm working based on a 1935 and 36 dressing table made by Strombecker in pink. And I really liked it. And this is not exactly like that one, but it's very similar. I'm sticking with that style, the simple lines. But I am going to add some extra decorative things to it. These are the sides. It looks like it's going to be really low, but I'm going to actually add to it to lift it up. I'll be making legs for it that attach to the little stubby legs you see there. What I did is I cut out the pieces going diagonally, and I'll show it again when I do another design. It keeps the wood from cracking. That's the top of the dressing table, and the sides and the front. And I'm just going to glue them with wood glue and pin it together like I always do, because it's balsa wood and it's soft, and these are pretty thin, these pins, so you won't see the holes, especially after I paint them. I do like this wood glue. It does dry a little faster than some of the other ones, but not too fast. And I'm just making square legs here, adding to the legs that are sort of flat that are there. It's just a square balsa wood dowel that I'm using. I got off camera a little bit. I was so absorbed in what I was doing that I wasn't centering some of this as much, so I apologize for that. But all I'm doing is sticking pins in, so there's nothing much to be learned from that anyway. And the pins just work really well. It makes it much faster. And I just put another piece of leg in the back so that the back of it is stronger. And now I'm doing the back of it, the mirror, which is a decorative wooden piece that goes in, and then the mirror will go on top of that. First time I measured it, it didn't come out quite the way it should have, so I just erased it and did it again. This is some really hard board that came with some paper that I bought. It's almost like illustration board. It was so hard, so I always keep those pieces that come in the back of paper and that sort of thing when you buy them on Amazon, and they work really well to make templates. I save these template patterns because I might want to build the furniture again, maybe a different color, a little bit different styling at another time. Now I'm just cutting these vertical lines with the grain, and this is going to make it easier to cut the curve without splitting the wood. And I cut it all the way through. Then I cut the top of it for the design, and you can see how it just comes right off, and they're like little matchsticks. I'll save those little matchstick things for something else, and I'll just give this a quick sand all the way around. This is 600 grit sandpaper. And I'm going to measure for the mirror now and place the mirror right in the center. It's a little 1920s mirror. I picked up a couple of them last summer and used one already. So this is the second one I bought, and I think it works out real well, even though it's kind of grungy looking. It just makes it look more antique. And I'll just give these a quick sand again. Make sure they're the exact same size, these top drawers. And I will be cutting out a square of balsa wood to fit on the front of each one and putting a pull knob later, right in place. So there's the mirror. Just want to make sure it's completely centered and the same distance on each side. And it was off just a little bit, but I readjusted it. And I'll just glue the back on and put the pins in. And I can adjust it to make sure it's completely straight too as it dries. And I'll straighten that out. I'm just going to bend it a little bit so it's not leaning forward. And I'm sanding that curved area around the sides, a little decorative area. Didn't need too much sanding. I cut it out pretty well. And I just want to make sure there's no rough spots. And then sanding the bottom of the legs so that they're all even. And the front. And I'll let the glue cure. And that's the drawer in the front. And it's just another little piece of balsa wood. I just sanded the corners off a little so it doesn't look so sharp. And just glue that right on. Someday I'll make furniture with functional drawers, but I like the way these look, and I like to build stuff that's quick. So I didn't want to spend a lot of time, making drawers that pull out since I'm not going to be pulling them out. These are just little drawer fronts for those boxes. And these will also have pulls on them. And I'm just gluing those on and seeing where they're going to be placed. And sanding the corners again on the other one, just to take those sharp edges off, make it look a little more natural. And I'll glue the drawer front right on to those little boxes. And that's how they'll fit. Now I'm just cutting a little notch on the side of that little boxy drawer on each side so it fits around the mirror more easily, because the mirror protrudes away from the balsa wood, and I want to make sure that the drawers fit flush against the mirror and the back of the piece of wood that holds the mirror up. So I just cut those little notches. I'm just working with it a little bit to make sure that it actually does fit the way it ought to, and it does. And now I'm going to pull out those pins. The glue is completely cured. And I'm going to put a decorative element around the mirror. And this is that hardboard again that I got that was backing up paper that I bought. I'll cut it first with the scissors because I can get a nice clean cut. And then I'm going to cut the rest of it out with a very sharp X-Acto knife. This stuff is really tough. It was not easy to cut this out. Much easier with the scissors, but I did get a nice clean cut, nice clean edge. I was cleaning it up a little bit though, extra, just to make sure. I want it to look, neat. And as I glue it and pin it, it will go into the proper shape around the mirror. And you'll see it. Just want to see where it fits with those little top drawers. And it's going to fit right about there, so I'll go ahead and glue that. Just using wood glue again. And shape it and pin it in place until it dries. just trimming it a little bit so that that little bit of paper cardboard goes behind those drawers as I set them down. And I'll just give it the whole thing, the dresser, a quick coat of paint. And this will also help me to see if there's any rough edges that need to be sanded down, so I'll sand it in between painting. I'm pretty sure that pencil is going to show through anyway, so it'll need a couple of coats of paint. Plus the cardboard trim that I just put on it, that's going to absorb the paint a little differently, so that will have to be painted several times. I'll just paint these little drawers up. And I'm going to be gluing the mirror in next. And these are the drawer pulls. They're made out of glass head pins. I dip them in the same paint and let them dry. And it'll be a combination of this pin and a bead to make the drawer pull. I'm giving it another coat of paint. And there's the drawer pulls. There you see the bead in between. It's one of those little hollow straight beads, and they were the small pieces of them to distance the pink part of the knob from the dresser front, or drawer fronts. And these are the legs, and these are beads, and that little glass white bead on the end, which is just a pin, will be dipped in paint as well and match the drawer pulls. And I just push those pins right into the bottom of the leg where I put the wooden square dowels on the legs. And now I'm going to glue them with super glue so they don't spin. Just makes it more stable. And there. Just putting a little dot of glue in each joint where they came together. And now I'm going to glue the mirror in. And there it is with the legs. I'm going to use fabric tack to glue this mirror on. It's pretty quick drying, and it's a very sticky adhesive. That was my wood glue, and I'm just going to now glue these box drawers on the top. And I just use a brush to take away any glue that oozed out. And there it is so far. I still have a little more trimming to do, but we'll get to that soon. And just do some touch up really quick here. And now I'm going to trim around the mirror with balsa wood dowel, the square dowel, a very fine dowel. And I can just cut these with scissors after I measure them up. And I'll just glue them on the sides of the mirror. And that'll clean it up nicely, since this mirror has some kind of jagged edges on it. And it's kind of sharp. I'll just give it a cleaner look. And I just painted the glue onto the wood and stuck it right in place. And now I'm going to put a little piece of that square balsa wood dowel across the top of those dressers up against where the mirror is and the backboard of the mirror. And that'll clean that line up a little bit too, make it look a little nicer. And just painting the glue on. It's just wood glue. That's wood glue I have in that little paint dish. Okay, there it is. Now I'm not quite done with this, but I'm going to move ahead to do the bench that goes along with this. But there it is. Now I'm cutting the bench out, and I'm using the same sides as I used on the dressing table. And I'm doing that vertical cut along the curved edges and then I cut it out, and just doing that again helps it move along more quickly, and you get a better cut, as I mentioned before. And there, sides are done. This is so simple. And now I'm going to make the bench top and the brace for the bench to hold it together, to stabilize it. And that's just the brace that goes between the legs, or sides, rather. Give it a quick sand. Make sure the legs are the same. I'm measuring for where I'm going to position the brace. And I'm just eyeballing it by putting it right in the middle. And then I'll put some pins in it to hold it. There it is, and now the seat will go on. And more wood glue and pins. I'll let that dry, and then I'm going to paint it. And I did make a seat out of fabric, but I lost the film on that. These are the decals, or rub-on decals, that I'm going to use on the dresser and the bench. And that fabric is what I made the seat out of. But you won't see me make the seat, unfortunately. It's just a piece of waste cotton from a medicine bottle, and then it's put on a piece of cardboard, and then the fabric is glued on it. And then I just glued the fabric around the corners of the cardboard so it'll just fit on. Left some space on each side, and then it'll be folded. And what I'm using here are diamond rasps. They have a diamond coating on them, and they're pretty small, so I can get right into those corners and file off any pieces of paint and debris that are on the design portion. And I'm going to glue the seat top on, but first I'm going to paint this again. Mix up some paint. Give it a second coat. I sanded it already, and I'm just giving it the second coat of paint all the way around. And as I said before, I have a pretty good color memory. I can mix paint and visualize what it is. So I don't know how I can do that, but I can. So I just smeared some, though. I picked it up off the edge, and I had to go over it again. Okay, yeah, I lost that piece of film too, how I did that first decal rub-on. But there it is, and I'll show you how I did the top of the mirror. At least I got that one. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, how I'm losing film, but it seems like about every other time I do this, I lose some footage. I have to investigate that. So here's what I did. I cut it out to the shape of the top of the mirror. It's on a piece of plastic, and then I took a book binding tool and just rubbed it in. And because it was cut from another piece that was bigger, I took a leaf off of another piece and put that in. And then I also put a piece of another one on to match the bottom decal a little better. So you can piece these together. And again, they're just on a backing of plastic that's see-through, and then you just rub it on and dispose of the plastic. And I'm just touching it up a bit with Inktense pencils just to make sure it closes up and brightens some of the colors a little. And you can, glaze over this if you want to. It stays on very nicely if you do. I'm not going to. I don't think it's necessary for this one. And I'm using Inktense pencils on that fabric as well. And fabric tack to glue the seat on. So I'll glue one half of the seat and the front of the seat down first and pin it. And then I'll put on a decal on the side, and then I'll glue the other side of the fabric again by pulling it real tight. And there, now you can see how it gets rubbed on. It's very easy. And they stay a long time. I've had rub-ons that I've done for, that are still good after 20 years. And there's the other side. It's a cute little decal. Decals are on. Now I'm going to glue the other side of the bench by pulling it right over that piece of wood on the bench front and gluing it down very tightly so that there are no wrinkles on the top in the fabric. And then I'll let that dry. It's dry now. And there's my finished dressing table, I guess that's what it's called, and the bench that goes with it. And this will be for a teenage girl's bedroom, attic bedroom, in my 1930s dollhouse. And next I'll be making a twin bed with a footboard and a headboard, a table that's on the side of the bed that will carry a lamp, a dresser. I'll make some chairs for the teenage girl's bedroom, and bookshelves probably, and I don't know, whatever else I need. And this is a forced perspective box that I put this in just to show you what the wallpaper is going to look like. That's the wallpaper I'm going to use. That's the velour rug that I made for the room. And I could make a couple of others. It just depends on how big the attic bedroom turns out. And I will paint that frame on the right of the dressing table pink so it actually shows up. And I'll have that little ballerina in the room too, hanging on the wall. And other pictures, and I don't know, maybe a phonograph. I may make a phonograph. So, well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you will like this video and come back next week and see what else I have for you. And subscribe if you find my channel useful. Also, I have free things on a blog spot that you can grab. Every week I try to put up new free things. You can go look at that. It's all free. It's for personal use only. And I have a community page as well where I post photographs and we have discussions. Well, thanks again for watching, and I hope you are staying warm where you are. We're freezing up here. It was 4 below zero last night, and that's Fahrenheit, not Celsius. Well, bye-bye.